It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley are here. Paul's all head up about ads in Windows File Explorer. Mary Jo's very excited about all the beautiful search stuff coming to Windows 10. DirectStorage comes to the PC from the Xbox. And Teams turns 5. It's all coming up next on Windows Weekly.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. Episode 768. Recorded Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. UI Bouillabaisse. Windows Weekly is brought to you by PlexTrack, the purple teaming platform. Save time and increase productivity with the premier cybersecurity reporting and workflow management product designed to support proactive security strategies from assessment through remediation. Visit plextrack.com/twit and claim your free month. And by HackerRank. It's time to reboot your technical interviews with HackerRank's easy-to-use tools. With a pre-made question library, code playback, and built-in whiteboard, you'll be conducting better technical interviews and instantly identifying the right talent. Go to hackerrank.com/WW to start a better tech interview for free today. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show where we get together with Paul and Mary Jo and not my Amazon Echo and talk about Windows Weekly. Hello, Mary Jo Foley, all about Microsoft.com.
Hello, Leo.
Today, I probably should hide this Linux penguin before Paul sees it. He could just be sneaking into the show. That's Paul Thurrott, all about, he's Thurrott.com. She's Mary Jo Foley. She's all about Microsoft.com. And together,
I am not Thurrott.com.
You are not. Although you're still doing the Petri stuff, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's.
we're still working on the book, so
Yeah, that's going to be the great collaboration.
No,
Paul's writing your part. It's okay. You don't have to do anything.
I just have to put my name on
your
it.
name
It's
on
good.
it.
Okay.
Collect the
That's
royalties.
All right.
That's
okay.
about all there is to it. Hello, welcome. Good to see you. Happy Wednesday. Let's see.
Happy almost St. Patrick's Day. You mean.
It won't. St. Patrick's Day, which is tomorrow, will never have the same feeling for me because it's the second anniversary of the pandemic. That's when the lockdown began.
I know. That's right.
So we'll never forget that.
the Irish ruin everything, don't they?
It's all their fault. All that green beer made us sick. Yes, 2 years ago.
That's
and tomorrow. And so for me now, St. Patrick's Day will have that.
Right? I mean,
Yeah, 2 years out of my life.
Do we have?
I don't have that many years left. I don't want to give them 2 years. Too late.
Yep.
Too late.
Too late.
So, as you know, it's on everybody's lips. It's the talk of the town. It's all anybody can talk about these days.
Call of Duty? Oh.
No.
Hadoop?
No. Good try, both of you, but it's, as you know, advertisements in Explorer. What's the
Leo,
deal?
It's like riding a bike.
Yes.
Once you go down that path,
You can't stop.
you can't stop.
It's like riding a mountain bike. Straight down. So,
Slippery slope, et cetera, et cetera.
So they showed up in a beta. Microsoft said, no, we're not doing that, but let's not. They clearly have the
They didn't
capability.
actually say, no, we're not doing that. They said,
No.
we're just testing that internally.
Testing
we
it.
didn't need you to see that yet.
Clearly they have the capability.
Yeah.
They've done it before. This is not the first time
Oh,
we've seen
really?
advertising in File Explorer. Yeah.
In File Explorer?
Yeah,
Now,
in
when you say
2017.
so, advertising can mean many things to many people.
Yep.
They're not Casper bed ads in there, right?
Okay, right. That's true.
What are they ads for?
But when you advertise your own products and services, it's still an advertisement.
True. True.
Yeah.
True.
I get that some people are really okay with what the dictator's doing. I get it. But you're not you, Leo, but you people who believe that these things are not advertising.
Why, you people?
That's cute, but they're advertising. They're advertisements.
Yeah. I'm not that person, but I'm also that person who didn't even notice it. Like when I saw the first picture and somebody said, look at the ad in that, I'm like, where?
Yeah, it is subtle.
I didn't see it. So
Yeah, it's not like Minority Report where he's walking down the street and the ads are following him around. Although, you know, we're kind of heading in that direction, aren't we?
So you could say it was just Microsoft saying, hey, here's a cool feature you might not know about.
Yeah.
Right?
You could say that.
You could.
What was
That's
it?
what Chris
But if you did-
Capicella said to us.
Yeah, what
right,
was it?
when
What
he
was
on
it?
the
Yeah,
show.
it's just reveal. What was it? I didn't see. What was the ad for?
It was from
Microsoft Editor, right?
which has nothing to do with File Explorer.
But it's in. But you already have it. It's not like you buy it, right?
Well, yeah, you
think
can
if you have
get
a
it as a browser
subscription
plugin
to-
for free.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but
Yeah, you are, Leo. Listen,
I'm trying to understand.
No,
it's not exactly an ad. I mean, we're not saying here's a Harry's
so first of
razor
all,
for you.
it was just a test of the advertising
This is
delivery
a
capabilities
test.
of File
This is
Explorer.
only a
what it was.
test. If there was for an actual advertisement, it
Well,
would.
you mentioned Casper mattresses or whatever. I mean, there's no reason it couldn't become that in the future, and that's the problem. You don't go down this path to do less of this thing. You intend to do more. If this works, we're going to do more of it.
Right.
And this is the general conversation is one we've had a lot. People hold on to the PCs for longer. No one goes to the store and buys Windows. Microsoft needs some way to monetize this thing that is used by billions of people. And they kind of look around at the rest of the world and they see how they're doing it. They tried the App Store thing. That didn't really fly, right? So that's not working. What else can we do? Well, what about Google? Google's doing advertising. Let's try that.
So I'm looking at the
I-
image in your blog post, Paul. Where's the ad?
That's just an image of File Explorer.
Oh.
So if you look at the...
Okay. I thought it was just me. Oh, good. Here it is.
No, there's a more recent
thing
article.
Here,
I have
Right there.
Write with confidence across documents, email, and the web with advanced writing suggestions from Microsoft Editor. So, and it's got a little triangle with an exclamation mark in it.
It's like if you don't do this, something bad's going to happen. That's what that
Alert.
means.
Alert. That's not the end of the world to me, but you're right. I mean, if it
No,
if
it's
it
the
had
beginning of the end of the world.
It's the beginning of the end of the world. Okay.
The thing, Mary Jo, I think, mentioned Chris Capicella. I always think back to that conversation, which wasn't that long ago, by the way. It was just December, right? Where he kind of said, Microsoft has the right to do this kind of thing. And we all sort of nodded our heads. Yeah, I guess they do. But, one of us
And then
brought up this
I have the
notion
right
of-
to install Linux. So
That's right.
Well,
Well, what I would like the right – see, I want to use Windows. But I'd like Windows not to be so
there's
terrible.
your mistake,
So-
Paul.
I know. Well, none of us are perfect, but look, I would pay. I mean, I am paying. I feel like as a customer of Microsoft 365, I shouldn't see these ads, or I should at least
that would
have
be interesting.
a toggle where I can turn that. Kind
That
of
would
stuff
be
on.
good. You could put that in the paid
But Chris
version.
Capicella, he
said no.
responded to that. He said no to that. He said,
Yep.
it's an implicit. He didn't say it exactly like this, but it's an implicit. It's Microsoft implicitly admitting that this stuff is terrible if they offer you a way to pay to get out of it.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's not kind of the way he put it, right?
Yeah.
And yep, I get that. But I mean, people pay for Thurrott Premium so they don't have to see ads on my website. People pay other
we have
services,
called a thing
Spotify.
called Club Twit. No
There you go.
ads, right?
Right.
That doesn't. That's
And-
not an admission that ads are terrible. It's just an acknowledgement. Some people prefer not to have them, and saying to them,
Yeah.
well, we make about $7 a month, actually more like $5 a month out of those ads for you. So if you give us $5 a month, because
will
cut
not
goes
show
to
you those
Patreon
ads.
and the credit card, then we won't show it to you, and that's a fair trade. Like you pay
think
for it
so.
one way or the other.
It's a good choice to have.
Is Microsoft saying you're not paying for Windows so we can do this? Is that kind of But you are kind of paying for it because if you get
They're not
Windows
saying,
with
they
a
would never say it
PC,
like that, right? In other words, sorry, the justification isn't to the end user. Microsoft as an entity is not coming to you as a human being and saying, you are not paying for Windows, so you will pay. You'll
Right.
pay in this other way.
Right.
They're not saying that. What they're doing is they've got a senior leadership team that's looking at the Windows division and saying, guys, you have like 1.4 billion of these things out in the world, and we're not generating any income here. We've got like X number of people using Office. They're generating subscription income. We got X number of people using Azure. Those guys are generating subscription income. You guys are generating nothing. How about we turn this into a cash machine somehow? And they they've tried different things. I think it's fair to say nothing has worked. And I think just as a user, the issue with this kind of stuff is similar to what we saw in Microsoft Edge, which started off as very svelte and minimalist, and Microsoft Teams, which likewise started off that way. And these things have become overburdened by busy UI. You know, we used to talk about it's the content, not the Chrome. Remember these conversations we used to have around web browsers and Windows? People aren't there to look at Windows. They're there to get work done, you know? This stuff is all just distractions, whether it's a errant item in the start menu, a pop-up on your desktop, an ad that's in File Explorer. I mean, it's just, you're making the experience less.
I feel like
And you're making
when
it
it gets annoying, though, is when you already have a product and
Yes.
the ad comes up and it says, try Microsoft 365. I'm like, I already have it. I'm using it right now. I would
Yeah,
think
it's
you could
unsophisticated.
tell that
Yeah.
I have it, you know.
That's annoying.
Right.
I agree. I
Well,
want
that's
to
why
That one's
Microsoft wants to
annoying to
track
me.
you, so that will never happen. They're like, look, you could have personalized ads. If you let us personalize it,
Yeah.
we'll know that you have this.
Yeah, but we know
Right.
one of the reasons people don't like personalized ads because they aren't personalized. They don't work very well. They
Yeah.
advertise to you things you already bought, for instance.
Yeah.
That's very common.
Right. I don't think these things that we're seeing right now in like File Explorer are placeholders for Casper ads. I don't think that's where they're going to go with this. I think they are going to stay what they are, which is kind of like pointers to try to get you to use other Microsoft products. The place I'm the most worried about ads is in this new search thing that they've started talking about, where that thing is going to be loaded with ads. Like you already can see where that's going, right? Like it's not just going to be tips for Microsoft products. That's where they're going to sell ad space. When you click on the search box and it comes up and you see tip of the day and you see anniversaries, and then you start seeing ads underneath that because it's feeds coming from MSN, right? That's where it's coming from. So.
You would never see anything like this in Mac OS. You would never see anything like this in Chrome OS, which is made by a company that only sells ads. You would never see anything like this in Linux, a product that is free. You know, it kind of boggles the mind that Microsoft has shot for the bottom among its peers from a user experience standpoint. At a time when we're told that details matter and we're going to make this thing simpler and more pleasant, and even the audio sounds are better, and it's a soothing environment. You know what's not soothing is a bunch of stuff moving around, blinking at you. When you're trying to focus on the thing, what's the term they use when you're trying to get in the flow?
Stay in your flow. Yep.
These things take me out of my flow, Panos. Come on.
Yeah.
It's just, it's debilitating. For anyone, people listening to the show is called Windows Weekly. I assume most of the people listening or watching this care about this product, right? It's inconceivable that most people doing that are like, yeah, no, it's okay, I don't care. They have the right. They have the right to advertise.
I wonder, the way this keeps coming up over and over and popping up in different places makes me wonder if somewhere they have telemetry that shows people click on those things and then they start using the product. There's a reason they keep doing this, right? Not just to annoy us.
Not just because they're evil. I suppose.
Or to annoy us, right?
Well, there's a reason people send mailings in the mail because some people respond to them.
Right.
Listen, there's a whole conversation to be had around the fallacy of telemetry data and how anyone can use any bit of data to prove any point they were trying to make to begin with. And I'm sure the people that are using telemetry data to show that these things works are the people that wanted this stuff to work, Yeah. What the data doesn't show is how freaking aggravated people get when they see it. You don't get to see that data.
The day you'll see me
I'm
foam
speaking on
at the
behalf
mouth.
of that data.
Well,
The day you see me foam at the mouth will be the day Notepad has a huge ad that's blocking my view of my content.
Right,
If it's up in the toolbar, I don't really care because I never look at the toolbar. If it's blocking where
Mary
I
Jo,
am putting my
You've
data.
been using Notepad for 30 years. Let me tell you something about Notepad. There's no toolbar. There's never been a toolbar.
Well, what's that thing at the top?
The menu bar.
File, edit, view, that thing.
Yeah.
Menu bar. Yeah. Menu bar. Yeah.
Which we didn't really need, but now we have it. So
Menus
there
are
it
good.
is.
I don't
need it.
I may ribbons and toolbars, maybe not, but menus are good. I like menus.
Yeah, we
Gotta
don't
have
really need
menus.
it.
Actually,
just
though, I
gives us
turn
more
off
junk.
No, you're
white
right. You would
space,
like
that's
Emacs.
all.
I turn off the menu in Emacs as well.
Yeah.
Just a black
I
screen,
admit
white
I
text.
use Word, but I minimize the ribbon, so you only see like a row of. It looks like menu.
Yeah.
It looks like a menu. Is
Well,
what it looks
and
like.
I've got OneNote open for the show, and it's got a big old ribbon.
Yes, it does.
Big old ribbon. I don't, which I'm not that fond of, but at least it
We
doesn't
don't
have an
need it.
ad for Microsoft Editor in it.
It will. It can.
It
And
could.
Those ads appear in Microsoft Office as well. Actually,
Oh,
They do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, okay, and I don't know why I'm taking Microsoft's side on this, but I'm gonna just it stirs the pot. I like to give Paul a little blood pressure boost in the morning.
my blood pressure's been doing so well lately. Are we really gonna?
It's just promoting a feature, right? It's not.
Right.
If it were a third party, if it were Candy Crush Soda.
Oh boy.
That
That's
would-
not third party anymore. But I see what you're saying.
Oh, you're right. It's not
remember.
anymore. Okay, so let me be much more clear. Don't promote games,
Sure.
but productivity features that you could
here's the
buy.
thing. All right.
I'm not
Actually,
sure
that's
that's a
a-
terrible thing.
What you just said is a good example. If I open my start menu, this is Windows 11, not Windows 10. So if I open my start menu, there are entries in there for Spotify and Disney Plus.
I hate that.
Prime
No,
Video.
I agree.
Right.
Those are third party. TikTok.
I don't want to see any of those, and I immediately
same
remove
thing,
those.
right?
Yeah, I don't
Now-
like that.
I don't believe those apps are actually installed. I'm afraid to click on
They're
them.
not.
stubs, most of them.
God
they're
knows
not.
I
So I
don't
think-
want to send
I
them
feel like some of them might
telemetry to
be.
prove that this works.
Right.
But
There's like a
it will
stub
install.
or something.
It's
Yeah.
a stub. That's
Right.
exactly right.
Yeah.
That's a form of advertising, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That's a promotion.
Just like having
of
the
some kind.
McAfee trial version of the antivirus. I don't want any of that crap. We talked about that last week, the
That's right.
signature PC, which nobody wanted to do because there's money in it. And I mean, and the truth
Yep.
is, you're right. I don't buy the logic. We're not making enough money. We want to make more. Who cares? That's not my problem. You know, that's your bad
Well,
business
poor
model.
Microsoft, the second most powerful company in the world, isn't making enough money from one of its core properties.
Aw.
Yeah. I mean, geez,
but-
cry me a river.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't use operating systems that do that. To be honest
No.
with you, Apple doesn't do it with a Mac OS. They don't do it on. I don't think they do it on the iPhone. Some Androids
Apple
do.
does-
I mean,
well, so
Samsung
we
embeds
can-
lots of stuff in it.
I don't want to get off on a tangent. Apple actually does in some ways do this in iOS. When you look at the 47 apps they install by default, and if you look at the way they used to prefer their own apps when you did a search, I mean, they have in the storage.
But those are apps. I mean, those are apps that you have.
they're part of the OS. I mean,
Yeah, I
there's
mean,
no
that's,
iOS
you can't
without the App
complain
Store.
that Microsoft has Edge in there.
No, but they
No,
had
actually,
Xbox.
that's part of
They
the
used to have
litany of
Xbox,
complaints, right?
Yeah, I didn't want Xbox.
You can complain that Microsoft pushes you away from Chrome or other browsers when you try to install one. You can complain about the fact that in Windows 11 they made it harder to set another browser as the default. You can complain that when people came up with workarounds, they said, no, we're blocking that. They updated Windows to prevent the workarounds. I mean, actually, you can go, there's a whole litany of complaints you can make. This is just, an ad appeared in File Explorer and then Dev Channel, so we're talking about that specific feature. But actually, look, Google, Apple, Amazon, whatever, these companies are all terrible. They're all terrible in their own ways. No, they are. They're terrible. Microsoft is terrible too. Those other companies being terrible doesn't excuse Microsoft. As I pointed out with this kind of advertising thing, it is perhaps unique that Microsoft, among all these companies, is the only one building ads into the UI. The only thing I can think of that's like this a little bit, I guess, is Amazon does this with their Kindle stuff. Not just the Kindle e-readers, but the Kindle tablets are, in a way, a handheld giant ad for Amazon.
All the Fire stuff is, for sure.
Yeah, they're all
all
like
the
that,
Fire
right?
sticks.
Yeah, and that makes them a little harder to deal with. And in fact, I don't use them for that reason.
Yeah, that's exactly why I don't buy them. Okay, it's an interesting conundrum. Somebody's pointing out Apple puts ads in Apple News Plus even after you pay for it. That's a little different to me, though. That's more like a website. I mean, you expect ads.
Yeah, but you know what?
In
So
content.
to me, that doesn't excuse it because I pay the New York Times. I use their awful app, and I get ads in the app, and I'm paying them, and I still get ads. And it's like, I get that that's the model. That model is wrong. It's just wrong.
Okay.
And And look, but you know
That's
what?
fair.
I don't care about Apple or Google or Amazon.
You care about
or New York Times.
Microsoft doing
I care about Microsoft and Windows.
You know,
And
by
like
the
I
way,
said,
Ubuntu did do it briefly. They put an Amazon icon.
Yeah,
They
how'd
put an
that go over?
And it did go over well. It's gone. Yeah.
I'm surprised they're still a company.
Yeah.
So, look, Chris Capicella kind of downplayed this notion, and I know a lot of people will kind of knee-jerk not like this suggestion, but I would be happy to pay not to see this crap. I feel that I'm already paying them enough that I shouldn't. I pay for both a commercial and a family Microsoft 365 account, these at great cost every year. I don't understand why I'm seeing ads. Or I'm not seeing an option that says, you know what, don't show me this stuff. I'm smart enough to figure it out. I got this. You don't have to teach me how to use Microsoft Editor.
Yeah. You know what? When I think this is going to be push comes to shove, and I didn't think of this, but Jordan Novitt from CNBC tweeted this today. He said, so, you know, if you're a third-party company, like say you're Salesforce, and you see Microsoft put an ad in for Dynamics into your product, you could say they're tying, right? They're trying to use their operating system to influence you to buy their product over a third-party product. I'm like, so once there's a lawsuit, maybe they will stop.
Yeah, you know what they'll do? They'll let Salesforce advertise instead. Thank you, EU. You're fantastic. You have opened up a ballot box now so I can see ads from third parties. I just don't want to see ads. I don't think that the shell is an appropriate place to advertise.
Yeah.
I'm not there for the shell.
Yeah. You know who might save you? Panos might be your savior here, because I'm sure Panos hates this. I'm sure he does.
It is actually only gotten worse under Panos, because think of the double whammy of this. Everything that was terrible about Windows 10 plus a bunch of functional regressions, right? Yeah. I mean, and we get curved window corners. Cute. It absolutely is better looking. I will 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
But it is literally everything that was wrong with Windows 10 with a bunch of new problems. And by the way, that cute new UI that I actually like is yet another UI that now exists in Windows alongside all the UIs of the past. It's this giant bouillabaisse of UIs and UXs dating back to the 1990s, all swimming together like some kind of germ-filled pond, you know, and they're never going to clean it up. They're not, right? It's just going to be all of these different UIs living together side by side. And every once in a while, you scratch below the surface. You're like, oh my God, it's Windows Vista. Right? That's what Windows is. It's like an archaeological dig.
Could you spell Bouillabaisse so I can make that the show title? Just
Probably not.
You say it right, though. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Some germ-filled bouillabaisse scum pond. It's not that bad, but
Windows 11, ladies and gentlemen.
What if they put it in tips?
Windows 11.
What if they just put it in the Tips app? You know, just pop it up. Little tips.
Nobody will run the Tips app.
Then no one will run it. Yeah.
Well, okay, that's actually an interesting point. Remember when you installed Windows 95 for the first time, there was a tip thing that came up.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, Office probably did this for a time. Visual Studio.
I think they think of it as that. That's even why they put the triangle with the exclamation mark. They think of it as a tip. This is a tip.
Do.
Yeah.
Here's a tip for you.
Yeah, that's like saying, hey, the bridge is out. Just a tip. But if you keep driving, you're going to go flying into the river. It's just a tip.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can ignore it. Mary Jo wouldn't even see it. She would drive right over the bridge.
I didn't see it. No, like I said, the first time everybody was talking about this, I'm like, where is this ad everyone is talking about? I'm looking at the screen now. I don't see it.
It doesn't look like an ad, does it?
It's very subtle. I think the point of it was they were just testing placement and
placement. Right.
Yeah.
The feasibility of doing it. Right.
I'm sure they had no intention of advertising Microsoft Editor. I'm sure they, in fact, were going to advertise Casper mattresses. It's clear to me that's where they were
Should
going.
mention Casper is an advertiser on the Twitter network.
Right. I own many Casper mattresses.
I do
I'm not
too.
saying that's not a
Nothing wrong with
product.
it.
I'm just saying.
But I don't want it in my Windows. I understand.
I don't want them advertised in Windows.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, advertising is ubiquitous everywhere, and you can't get away from it.
I know. I just don't see them caring that people are upset about this. If they don't care that they're wrecking Edge with all this bloatware, they definitely aren't going to care about running a one-line ad in File Explorer.
I think they think they're making Edge better, is what I think.
Yeah, they do.
Leah, what are you
or
doing?
at least they say that. They say
Leo's
again.
reading from the book
there
of
are things
devil's
they
advocacy.
say.
I like what
they
Microsoft's
say.
doing.
They make you get
Screw the environment.
Yeah. No, like Chris Capicella is saying, these are tips for people who might not know these tips or how to find this or that we even have this product. I'm sure the Edge team says, you know what, we're just giving people things they want and making it more accessible to people.
You know what? I'm going to project into what I think the Edge team is actually thinking, which is I think I hate it. I think they hate it. I think that this
I think some of them hate
happening to them is similar to what's happening to Windows. It's coming from on high.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, we got to try to make the best of this. We're forced to justify our existence. We have to do something along these lines. Let's try to make it as unterrible as we can. And I actually think that's the mentality. I'm sure if we were able to talk to people on the Edge or Windows teams, we would find people who were like, geez, I can't believe we're doing this. I'm so sorry. It's awful.
Agree.
Like, I hate being part of this.
Yep. Agree. But I agree also with your assessment that the senior leadership team is looking at Google, looking at Amazon and saying, look how much money these guys are making from ads.
Yep. Yeah.
And why aren't we making all this money from ads?
Yeah, we have MSN and Bing over here. They're doing nothing.
Yeah.
Can you promote them somehow? How can we integrate this?
That's what widgets are, right? That's where widgets came from, was the idea of repurposing the MSN content in a way that they're like, okay, we got to get more ad dollars somehow. What if we make this part of Windows, right? And people will be able to click on it.
If you were to take a programming 101 course, one of the things you might create would be like a simple little app, weather applet, or application or widget or something. And it shows a picture of the sun when it's sunny and it's cloudy when it's cloudy and all that stuff. It's a simple thing to do. You integrate with online services. Microsoft has this in Windows 11. It's just down in the corner where the start button used to be. It's nice. Except that's not what that is, right? That's the thing I think people like. And then you click on it, and it's like you've opened the gates of Hades, and now you're seeing a story about the Kardashians, and someone looks great in a swimsuit, and blah, blah, blah. It's just terribleness. Right. And unfortunately, the little cute weather widget, which everyone likes, is not driving any revenues, guys. It's the other stuff. Yeah. And that's the point of it. That's the reason it exists. Not to make your life a little happier.
If they could just keep ads in widgets and MSN, I would be really happy. I'd be like, okay, let the poor people who accidentally click on that or who like it, maybe there are people who like it and click on it, let them have that, and then let us have the operating system with none of that, right? That'd be okay.
Yeah.
To me, that would. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm happy to pay. I feel like I'm already paying. This is the argument I have with the New York Times. I'm already paying you a lot of money. I don't understand why I'm seeing jumpy ads when I'm trying to read an article. Don't get it.
Yeah. No, we're not going to get that.
Get it.
Like, I think Chris made that pretty clear in December. Like, they're not going to get that.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I agree. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But I mean, I just feel like this is a model, and it's an accepted practice. And I don't know. The thing I guess I'm worried. So, for example, back in 2017, when the first ads appeared in File Explorer, there was a setting in Explorer settings, I guess, File Explorer settings, that you could turn off about search provider or something. I don't remember the exact language. Because at the time, all they were advertising was like OneDrive type stuff. Although the phrase search providers suggests they could have third-party ads for Dropbox or Box or whatever. And, for the most part, this is true of Edge. Like, you can go in and manually turn off stuff you don't like, for the most part. Someday, though, aren't you worried like that's going to disappear? You've seen what they did with default apps. Yeah. Default apps is a pretty serious interface. I mean, not being able to turn off suggestions, as they call them, is not a big step.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Listen, you Neville Chamberlains.
I think it's it's unfortunate that this is happening.
That's what we're saying.
We have bigger fish to fry,
peace
guys.
In our
we
time.
Have bigger fish to fry.
I want to talk about the purple teaming platform, and then we can fry some fish. The fish fry just around the corner. As we continue with Windows Weekly, Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. Our show today brought to you by... Yes, you knew it when I said the purple teaming platform. PlexTrack. Speaking of, they're there to end the war between the red team and the blue team. PlexTrack is the premier cybersecurity reporting and workflow management platform. Actually, there's not a war between the red team and the blue team. We're all on the same side. But sometimes, there's communications issues. You want both teams to work at peak efficiency. The red team finds the problems, the blue team fixes them, that kind of thing. We want you to win the security battle. What if you could streamline the communication across the entire security department so every team member could do their job more efficiently? Everybody would love that. From simplified data aggregation and reporting to integrated ticketing for remediation to analytics and visualizations for a board reporting, because the board likes to see those pretty pictures. You know they do. And you know what? They're not so bad to have for yourself, too. PlexTrack touches every aspect of the security management workflow. You can get a real-time view of your security posture by bringing all your data sources together into one powerful platform where you can triage those scanner results. Pick the ones you got to solve. Generate powerful analytics and visualizations. You can assign remediation tasks. You can attest to your posture. I love that. That's a great phrase. I can attest to our posture. It's good. And track progress over time. One satisfied PlexTrack customer said it better than anybody. We see PlexTrack as a part of our strategy to move quicker and be proactive. This is the key. Now we have a real-time view of what we need to focus on, and I have an easy way of showing senior leadership. So it goes really all the way up the chain. PlexTrack serves every aspect of the enterprise security team program with features designed to improve workflow, collaboration, and communication, and it works for every team with every role. For red team data aggregation, you can import all of your automated vulnerability scanners and tools and triage and report results. And half the time, you got report templates, so you don't have to spend a lot of time hunting and pecking. You just boom, 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 paste, paste, paste. For the blue team, man, remediation never has been easier. You can assign remediation tasks right on the platform or through simple integrations with the ticketing tools you already use. And you can track your progress over time very easily. And, you know, it's funny because when we first started doing these ads, I like to mention that the C-suite likes it too. And I think they realize it's really true. It's really important. Stakeholders want to know, what are you doing? I know because I'm one, right? Stakeholder communication, you can use powerful yet simple analytics to attest to your security posture, to prioritize issues, tailor attestation and communication to the needs of both team members and the C-suite. C-suite needs to be comfortable, confident. And by the way, they'll give you a better budget if you do it right? You'll also love the continuous Purple Team assessment. Begin purple teaming or power up your current strategies with runbooks. That's one of the tools that comes with PlexTrack, the best in industry tool for test plan execution. It's actually fun to use. That's really the bottom line. PlexTrack improves the entire security engagement lifecycle by making it easy to generate security reports, deliver them securely, track the issues to completion straight from the platform so security teams of all sizes and maturities can maximize efficiency and effectiveness. Book a demo today to learn more about the product and how it can support proactive security work in your organization. I know a lot of times you go, no, not another tool, but this is one you're going to love. You're going to actually want to use, and it's going to make your life easier. Try PlexTrack free for a month. See how it can change your life as a security professional. Simply go to plextrack.com/twit. Claim your free month. Yes, the board will love those pretty pictures too. PLEXTRAC, plextrack.com/TWIT. 1 month free waiting for you. Plextrack.com/twit. Thank you, PlexTrack, for supporting Windows Weekly. You support us too, by the way. You listeners and viewers, you support us too when you go to that address so that they know you saw it here. Plextrack.com/twit. Don't forget the /twit. Thank you, PlexTrack. Getting back on track. Yes. With Windows Weekly. That was all the first bullet item.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I've got good news for you.
Yes.
If you're using Windows 10, I know you're listening to this and you're thinking, man, I don't want to upgrade to this thing. It's terrible. But you don't have to, because Microsoft is going to bring all the most terrible stuff from Windows 11 to Windows 10. You're going to stay right where you are.
So this isn't the search we were talking about last week, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
It's coming to Windows 10 too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
son of a bitch.
Yep. Because
Oh, man.
no terrible thing is too terrible not to share with everybody.
No one should have to suffer alone. That's right.
That's right.
No, and you know what's funny? I was saying this to Paul. When Microsoft announced these search changes last week, they said it would be coming to the release preview channel first. But it never said it was coming to Windows 10. I'm positive it never said that in the blog post. And then when it debuted on Monday, it's like, oh, by the way, this is going to the release preview channel, but it's going to Windows 10, right? I'm like,
Right.
what?
Mary Jo Foley loved it so much, we're going to put it in Windows 10.
Yeah. So if you thought, like Paul just said, if you think you're escaping some of these things by staying on Windows 10, you're not. You are not. This is all that
Windows
stuff we were
7
talking
still
about.
supported? Can we just use Windows 7?
If you want to pay a lot of money for the extended security updates, you could keep running Windows 7.
I want a version of Windows
yeah.
that doesn't have an app store, doesn't have ads, doesn't have like S
Right.
mode, doesn't have.
No, these changes are the ones. When you click on the search icon in the taskbar or in the start menu, you're going to get this thing that looks like MSN, right? It's going to have like image of the day, and it's going to have what famous birthdays are there and what holidays are there and all this stuff. And yes, you can turn it off as an individual and administrator, which is good. But why are they doing this? Like, why are they cluttering up the search box instead of just fixing search? Right?
Why?
Why? Yeah. So yeah, that's unfortunate. I was very sadly surprised to see that. And if it's in the release preview channel, it means it is definitely coming. Like when something is in the RP channel, it's not just like the dev channel where maybe it will and maybe it won't show up. This means it's coming, and it's coming pretty soon, right? It's going to come out in a cumulative update. You're just suddenly going to get this new search experience.
So tell people what it is and why you hate it. So,
yeah. The reason I hate it is I just feel like they're focusing on the wrong things. Like search in Windows 11 and Windows 10, it's not a great experience in Windows. It doesn't work that well. And now they're going to add all this clutter to it. And this is where you're going to start seeing ads, because they've already said they're going to show you Bing rewards in there. And you can just see, talk about slippery slope. You can see they'll definitely sell ads to people through that somehow. Like if you click on what's the anniversary date today for some big event worldwide, a page will come up with MSN and there'll be ads on that page. There will be. And this is how they're going to monetize through the search engine. I think that one is much more offensive and in your face than like this thing we just talked about with File Explorer.
Yeah.
This is like front and center, right?
This is the very nature of the slippery slope. If you're running Windows 11 today, at least, and I think Windows 10 would be pretty identical, and you do Windows key plus S, you can bring up the search interface without any search results yet, and you can kind of see where it is today. It's mostly productivity focused. You can search apps, documents, web, etc. They have recent apps you've run. And then this is the slippery slope. But there's this little corner there where it has quick searches, right? Today in history, which I think you said, new movies, translate, and markets today. And I don't think most people would argue.
But it's very subtle, right? Like today
it is subtle. What I was going to say was I don't think most people would complain about this.
No.
The thing is, what you're doing if you click on one of those things is you're running some MSN thing or a Bing search or a Bing service or whatever. You may not be offended by that. Like that's not a big deal. But I think that's part of the problem. It's just like the first inroad. And the thing they're going to start doing more explicitly is, first of all, they're going to make these big colorful things with graphics, fun things like, hey, everyone likes puppies. Here's some puppy photos,
Yeah.
And it's just, the point is to drive you to these MSN and Bing services, which, again, okay, however you may feel about that. The good news is we'll be able to turn it off, for now, but we'll see. And I will, because that's gross to me. But, again, you don't escalate to de-escalate,
Yeah.
And the only way we could ever turn this around would be, I guess, if enough people didn't use it, which is probably the only way. And maybe if enough people complained, or the right people.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're going to hear about this, Leo, on your radio show.
I know.
This is just going to show up in Windows 10, and people are going to be like, "Wait a minute, what just happened here?"
Yeah. I refer you to our last week's conversation for the whole.
Yeah, when this does get enabled for people, the tip is going to, and we'll talk about this on the show at the time, whenever it happens, is going to be, well, how do I turn this thing off?
If you want to.
Some people are going to look at this and love it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's something for everybody. One of the things I found over a couple of signature PC sets of tests was some people like crapware. They feel like they're getting more on their computer. They're like, this is great, They're not the majority.
Some people like crapware.
No, that's what we found. Like one out of 10 seemed to think it was fine.
No, there are people who like MSN. There are. And there are people who like Bing Rewards. There are people who like all this stuff for sure. And they find coupons
I don't have any problem with that
Edge.
stuff existing.
No.
Yeah, of course. That's fine.
Yep.
I just don't want it in my face. I don't use Bing for anything.
And
Except
search built into Windows. Right.
Well, right. I mean, I don't use it on purpose.
Yeah.
I guess is what I meant.
Okay. Okay. Now, I've been seeing a lot about this DirectStorage thing. People are excited about this. I don't understand what it is, though, so explain.
Right. So when the Xbox Series X and S launched, and that must have been, the end of 2020?
Yeah.
That terrible year we'll never talk about again. Among the many things that Microsoft did in these consoles to improve the performance was implement this kind of, basically it's just a specific type of SSD storage hardware and interface just to make the loading of content off of disk happen faster. It sounds kind of obvious. We've had SSDs for a long time. But they kind of formalized this. And, one of the benefits of a console, of course, is that, it's a known quantity. It's not going to change. You don't have all different configurations of this thing. So it's kind of a nice thing to have. But they announced, actually before those consoles launched, right before they launched, that they were going to bring this technology at the time to Windows 10. We didn't know I don't think even Microsoft knew Windows 11 was going to happen. So DirectStorage is coming to Windows 10 was the story. And then Windows 11 happened. And one of the things they announced right around the Windows 11 reveal was, hey, DirectStorage is coming to Windows 11. It's like, okay, but what about Windows 10? And they were kind of silent on that for a while. And then eventually they came clean and said, yeah, we're going to bring it to Windows 10 too. It's going to be better on Windows 11. Okay. Why? Why wouldn't it be the same? And they're still being very vague about that. But DirectStorage is now available for Windows 10 and 11. They are still saying vaguely the better experience is on Windows 11. And cite is a strong word because they really don't explain why. But basically, there are storage optimization advantages on Windows 11. I have no idea what that means. But the point of this is that if you are a game developer, you can now release games that take advantage of DirectStorage. Windows PCs are different from consoles because we do have all those different configurations. So it does require a specific set of not just hardware, but matched drivers that meet these performance characteristics that are necessary to deliver a certain baseline of performance. And the best experience actually is going to be with the new PC, which I think is probably the real reason they're talking about Windows 11, because that's what's going to be on those new PCs. But the point of this is that, what are we talking about here? About almost a year and a half, we've had this on the console. As of, I think it was yesterday, it's now technically available in Windows. Again, assuming you have a PC that meets those those standards. Yeah.
Nice. So it's going to be fast, basically.
Be fast.
That's the point. That's the whole point, right?
It's going to be fast.
Going to be fast.
Yeah.
It's going to be fast. Steam Deck, which I thought was a Linux thing.
I kind of snuck some Xbox-y stories in the
I
Linux
see
section
this. I see this
it's
is
like
happening.
peeling off
It's
the
spread it out. Yeah. It's kind of like a little ad for Microsoft Editor in your Windows Weekly.
It's exactly like
Yeah.
that. It is.
Yeah.
Oh, you noticed that? Okay.
Yeah, I did.
So, no, it's fair enough. So Valve shipped the Stream Deck a little while ago. This is running Linux. It's gotten pretty good reviews. It's kind of low end in some ways for a PC, or a gaming PC anyway, but it seems to work pretty well. But one of the stories around this semi-open platform is you'll be able to install Windows if that's what you want.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
Yeah, so you want those Windows drivers, and those drivers are now available. So technically, I think as of now, you can install it. There's no way to dual boot between Linux and SteamOS, which is the Linux-based system. Maybe that will happen in the future. And there are still drivers to come, so there's still some stuff that's not there. But I think it's like GPU, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and some other things are available. But there's more to come. So
Nice.
And then of course you have to update the BIOS and all that kind of stuff. Blah blah blah, whatever. So yeah. Anyway, it's happening. So if you are interested in Steam Deck and specifically from a Windows perspective, it's happening.
Okie dokie. I'm happy to hear that.
You know, one fewer Linux install in the world. I don't know
is a win.
Yeah. No, the truth is the fact that the Steam Deck runs Linux primarily has been good for Linux gaming because all these games are now available on Linux.
I don't know if you followed I don't think I have anything about this in the notes, but Google had their game event yesterday. Kind of dry and boring, but one of the things they were talking about was porting Windows games to Linux and all the work they've done to make that much, much easier. And because this is basically the basis of Stadia, which now they're opening to third parties and, yada, yada, yada. But anyway, I suspect a lot of that work will benefit the Steam Deck as well. Just make it, because, game makers target Windows, obviously.
Right,
but if you can bring it to Linux kind of frictionlessly, why not?
I mean, the thing is, it's a PC, so I'm not surprised you can install Windows on it. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you have to buy a license?
Of course.
Okay, so
but don't worry, Leo. Even with that license that you buy, you still get the ads.
That's all I care about.
You're going to get the full
So
experience.
relieved
I don't
to
want you
hear
to
that.
think it's a less of an experience.
Yes.
You get everything.
No.
Yep.
Now, let's move to Microsoft 365. Let's see if Paul can get some gaming into this.
Actually, what I want to
Well,
hear
I-
from this is how Mary Jo can make sense of what they just announced. It's like 1,100 different things.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first,
crazy.
let's talk about what I think should have been the lead of the show
Yes.
today, not the ad thing.
No.
April 5th, there's going to be an event that Microsoft is holding. Panos is keynoting.
Oh.
Cinco de
It's
Abril.
about Windows.
Should we stream that? Is it going to be big announcements of any kind?
So we don't know what they're announcing. The title of the event is Windows Powers the Future of Hybrid Work.
Okay,
And
gonna
it's a
skip.
business event. Okay.
I was going to say, if that doesn't sell it, I don't know what will.
Just took that off my list.
I
Okay.
But-
literally fell asleep before you finished
Panos.
the title.
But guys, Panos.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So it's not just going to be, I
No,
was
that's
kind of hoping
true.
it was going to be System Center 2022, but I guess that probably isn't going to be that. But I don't know what they're going to announce. I was thinking of all the things they could announce at this. So it's a business-oriented event, so it's not going to be games, right? But still, you could see them finding a way to talk about things like Teams Consumer, because they could talk about how Teams is, working in the enterprise and why they added Teams Consumer to Windows 11. So there could be some extensions into the consumer space with this event. I also think the timing is right. Maybe they're going to talk about One Outlook at this thing, right? I mean, we keep hearing spring is for the new version of Outlook, and that has a direct connection to Windows. So I'm like, maybe that's where they're going to announce One Outlook.
I think
All
they'll
it
probably
says-
announce it with ads inside of Windows, but that's another way they could do it.
That's another way they could do it. It says at the bottom of the landing page. So the landing page for this is Microsoft.com/en-us Windows Business Event, right? That's the working title.
That is exciting.
I know. Bottom says 3 breakout sessions on Windows tools for productivity, collaboration, management, and security. So they're going to talk about those themes for sure.
Yeah.
But I keep coming back to Panos. If this was the main keynoter was somebody like on the business side,
No, that
I'd
makes
say,
it much
okay,
more interesting. I agree.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Right.
Panos in what capacity? From Windows or Surface or both?
No, not from Surface. This is not a Surface event. Definitely
Well,
not a Surface
but
event.
a lot of today's announcements involve Surface.
It's a Windows
and how-
11
True.
event, right? Because it has the foldy papery
Yeah, it's a
thing.
Windows
That's
11
true.
event.
Oh, the
for
Kleenex,
sure.
the Windows 11 Kleenex. That's what you cry
Yes.
into when you can't stand the ads anymore.
Blue Kleenex.
Actually, if you
The
zoom in,
blue
I think there's an ad right in here
Yeah.
somewhere.
There it is.
Yeah.
If you can see
It
this,
says
you're too close.
Kleenex right there.
The future
No,
of
I've seen
hybrid
people
work.
speculating they could announce the Loop app, that whole thing that they're building
yeah.
that's like Notion. This could be where they finally say, okay, we already showed and talked about it at Ignite last fall, but maybe now it's available in
Okay.
preview or something. Maybe.
I am going to beat a dead horse. But I love beating this dead horse. What about this is when they announce virtualized Windows? Like for real.
No, they already have it.
I know, but it's so expensive. Like
Okay.
maybe
Okay. No, that's not a bad guess, right? Because I keep hearing they're going to talk about Windows 365, the cloud PC stuff. And one of the next steps for that is making it available to consumers.
Yes.
That is like something they've
Yes.
said they're going to do.
Of course, this is business. But
it is. This is a business event.
and
but
I see other people offering this now fairly inexpensively, not as much as Microsoft's charging. So I wonder.
right.
Seems
I
like
think they have to
could.
work out the kinks a little bit more
Yeah.
before they offer it to consumers. But I think, that is a fair point to bring up. That they'll definitely talk about Windows 365 because that's
Because this
a
is
big
about
part
work
of
from
this
home,
event.
right? The future
is.
of hybrid
Well,
work.
We must have talked about this last year at the
Yeah.
Windows 365 launch, but really, I don't think maybe I'm missing the point, but I don't think people are looking for a Windows environment in a window, per se. Like, isn't like remote delivery of apps the end game here? You're using Linux or a Mac or a Chromebook or something or a web browser, and you get the app, right? I mean, isn't
Yeah.
that kind of...
Yeah. So the best way I've heard to think about this is it's your PC in the cloud. It's your PC virtualized. So if you live in an app, like say you live in Teams or you live in TweetDeck or whatever, that's your environment that they're replicating in the cloud. It's not just Windows by itself, right? It's like when you shut down and start up the next day, everything is exactly where you left. Not just your files are right where you left them, but everything is like
Right, your
how
apps,
you left
yeah,
it,
okay.
right there, right? Yeah, so that's the right way to think about it. Is it's your PC in the cloud, represented virtually. That's what cloud PC is. But yeah, this is not the idea that they were trying with Windows 10 X, which was when we were hearing about them, like having virtualization 3 different ways inside of Windows. That's not this. That's not the same thing as this. Remember that whole thing? Win32 apps were going to be virtualized and kept in a container.
But in a world in which Windows 10 existed, the ability to blast Windows apps or an entire environment down to that desktop too would make sense, right? That makes that constrained version of Windows make a little more sense, right? If you can have that capacity.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think we'll hear Windows 365. We'll definitely hear security, probably some more Defender, more things called Defender, whatever, because they keep calling everything Defender.
Is there going to be an aquarium with Alex Kipman in it?
No,
we'll see
I
that.
believe there will be nothing about the metaverse. I'm hoping. Although I saw somebody else speculate they're going to show the Teams avatars thing in the metaverse again because they think this is what they need to keep showing people. So they think they have a metaverse story. So maybe we will see that again in
You
this
got to
event.
keep
I
that
don't
dream
know.
alive for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm excited about it. April 5th. It's a 1.5 hour event. Starts, I think, at 8 a.m. Pacific, so 11 Eastern.
What day of
It's
the
a
week?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay.
It's a Tuesday. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see Panos not in his usual guise. We'll see him talking about business, which will be interesting and weird.
Do you think maybe this is a new role? Like maybe they want to expand Panos's presentation?
He's in charge of all of Windows, right? Like Windows client, not just like consumer stuff, but he's in charge of business stuff too.
But
right?
Microsoft 365 is so much bigger than
That's
Windows,
not really
right?
his.
It is.
Yeah.
It is interesting that it's a Panos event.
It is.
Maybe
Well,
he's
I'm
going to
sure
be the
there'll
new
be others.
pitch guy.
There'll be other people. No, there'll be other people keynoting too, I bet, right? Like it won't just be him. Yeah.
All right.
Stay tuned. We don't know what it is. So we're all just throwing ideas out at this point because nobody's under NDA on this and we're all
It's
just
interesting.
guessing.
Yeah. This,
Yep.
maybe we should, I don't know.
I know. Hard to say.
hard to
if
say.
you guys care about
No, we
all
don't.
that thing they were showing with teams in the metaverse, do you care about teams in the metaverse stuff? And those legless icons.
Yeah, the avatars. Yeah, we can have our own Burning Man and
The ghost
the
of
Loop
ours.
stuff is pretty cool. If you care about Notion, you're going to care about Loop.
yeah, it's their version of Notion, right? Yeah,
It is. Yeah.
and Monarch. So I don't know. There's a story
maybe,
here. There's stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
It's focused on hybrid work, so I think that's kind of interesting.
It is.
What does
Yep.
that mean? And that's where the world is going. So they're smart
is.
to be.
Well, I alluded to this earlier, but they just announced 1 million new features for Microsoft 365, especially
Yeah.
Teams today, all around the theme of hybrid work. It's interesting that 2 weeks or whatever ahead of this event, they decided to announce this now instead of waiting for this event.
Yeah,
So maybe
Yeah.
because with the Panos thing, maybe this is
maybe there's more.
how they're going to improve Windows for the same thing. We got the Office stuff now. Maybe we're going to hear about the Windows stuff.
Yeah, maybe. A lot of the stuff so today they announced, like Paul just said, 1 million features for Teams, basically. And
Yeah.
if you go back and look at the list of what they announced today, they had already announced 95% of this at Ignite. Like, this is a repeat of Ignite.
Well, it's
just
starting to come out, I guess.
Yeah, it is. Right. They're giving us dates now because at Ignite, they talked about like the Outlook RSVP capability and Teams Front Row. They talked about all these things, but they didn't give us dates for most of them. And now, not every single thing, but most of these things they're saying are going to roll out in Q2, which starts in April, right? So it could be connected to this event. It's like, okay, we told you that it was coming and here's the stuff. It's rolling out. It's April. Yeah.
I wonder if this isn't a mini, they're not doing a second Ignite, thank God. And maybe
Right.
this is just a mini mid-season milestone for that kind of stuff. That might have been in the
it could
other
be.
Ignite, something
Yep.
like that.
It could be.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe as we get closer, we'll get some good leaks.
Yeah, if you get
the
any
walking
scoops.
cats
Yeah,
looking, right? Everybody's
Yeah.
looking for stuff, right? So you might
I
find
feel
out
like
more.
the Office-related stuff is pretty clear-cut. It's mostly Teams, like you said.
It is.
Now
Yeah.
I'm curious if there's going to be some Windows.
Well, they've said it's a glimpse about the future of Windows. Like they said, Windows in the
There you go.
thing.
Okay,
So,
well,
yeah.
maybe we'll see V2 for Windows 11.
Yeah. Whatever that looks like. Yeah. I feel like that's just going to be a collection of all these features that they keep rolling out before October, right?
I think so too, yeah. And a bunch of ads. So, it will
And
be
a bunch of ads
definitely
thrown in on top. Yeah, because you can't have enough of those.
Never can have enough. Let's see. Microsoft Teams is 5 years old. That's cute.
I know. Can
Isn't
you
that
believe
sweet?
that?
Yeah, that's so sweet.
It's just kind of crazy. It's like
Such
5
an
years.
activity.
It's
has
just
gone
like a
by.
kid you haven't seen in a while.
grow
You
up
don't
so
even recognize
fast.
them anymore.
Yeah,
it's
it's
yes, it's not the same. It used to be humble chat-based collaboration solution.
Yeah.
And now it's like this gangly teenager with a squeaky voice and
Yeah.
hair on its chin.
Yeah,
It's very strange.
it is. But it was fun to kind of look back at 2017 when they started rolling this out. And at first, all it was really was like Skype for Business, right? It was like group chat, collaboration with video. And then suddenly it became like the operating system, right? Like it just kind of mushroomed into something much bigger. And then the pandemic happened and that really just catapulted Teams for like meteorically pretty much. So yeah, when people say what's next now that they've done 5 years, Paul answered on Twitter, of course it's going to turn 6 because he's so helpful and always
Captain
right there
Obvious
for you.
just jumps into the conversation.
No, one of the big things to come next for Teams is going to come within the next week or two. It's this Teams Connect thing, which is the idea of having a shared channel. So now if you have people who you have to keep switching contexts. Like when I'm using Teams with Petri, I have to switch out to use Teams in a different organization in order to get the full experience in the other organization. They're going to have it so that you're sharing a channel and not have to keep doing this weird rotating between channels. So that's coming in preview like in the next week or two. That's one of the biggest things coming. And then, there's going to be just more and more features. I feel like this is just going to continue. Every week we're going to get a laundry list of features, and the roadmap will be updated with a million new things. Lots of telephony stuff is going to be coming because that's a big emphasis for them with Teams now. Replacing your company's PBX, replacing the way you use carriers on phones, basically. So yeah, we'll see. I feel like we're just going to be talking a lot about Teams going forward, as we have been for the past 5 years.
Yep.
Welcome to the world.
The Teams
era.
Yeah.
And Office.com redesign.
Yeah, so what was Ignited? November? I mean, at that time, 17,000 announcements, literally one sentence mentioned Office.com and the Office app in Windows 10, I guess at the time, Windows 11 today. Also getting a refresh, just a design refresh. And that is now live. I think it's just for commercial customers, right? Is that true? Because I don't see it. I'm not seeing it on my consumer account, but they finished the redesign. Business, commercial customers. So
it's really nice.
And I
like it.
I like it too. I don't think it's, let me just check, make sure. I don't believe it's on the Windows app, which is a bright white light.
On the
No,
phone?
It's the old thing. Yeah, it's the same. Same as it used to be. But yeah, so it's just a new layout. It's it almost has not tiles, but like big content sections. And when you search for stuff now, you can filter by like the application, or if it's like a PDF, a meeting, an image, a video, that kind of stuff. It's nice. It looks nice. I wish they'd bring it. I use the consumer stuff more than the commercial stuff. So I kind of I like to see them bring it over there. But that will happen. That will happen soon.
They will. They will for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was talking to somebody about this today, and I was saying, I really love the Office app, the Office.com app. On my phone, that's all I use. I never use like Word or PowerPoint or Excel on my phone, right? I use that app. Right. And even on the desktop, if I just need to do something fast, I just go to Office.com. Like that, it's just so much easier, better, cleaner, quicker.
Don't you wish that was the Windows 11 start menu?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that would be perfect, right?
I feel guilty. It's so funny. I feel guilty using the Office app. I feel like, oh, no, you're supposed to have all the individual apps.
No,
You
it works
do?
great. That's
No,
fine.
it's fine.
The Office app on mobile is
I never
perfect.
use the
Or on
individual
phone.
apps
Oh,
anymore.
good. Thank you. You just gave me permission. I feel like, I'm supposed to download everything.
It's just enough
you
Office.
don't have to.
Just like, well, why do they then have separate apps?
Because some people need the full app.
Oh,
right?
there
Like,
is a
some
difference in
people still want it
capabilities.
all.
Okay.
Well, see, I'd like to understand actually. So, is there? I'm not sure if that's
there
even
is.
true.
Okay.
There is for sure. And the Office.com app also, or the Office app and Office.com, it has a lot of things that help you do tasks very simply. Like say you want to sign a PDF on your phone, right? Like just all you have to do is click on this little thing that says, what do you want to do? Sign a PDF. Click on it. It auto-generates your signature and you sign something.
That's
I'm
nice,
like,
isn't it? Yeah.
That's how that should work, right?
This is how nice it is. I still get, Samsung sent one of these recently, a different company, Microsoft has done this actually. We need you to sign this document and send it back. And they send it via email. And I'm like, okay. So what do? I could print it out, sign it, scan it, and then send it back electronically. What I often do is I'm like, okay, I'm going to open this email on my Surface device with the pen, sign it in Word, and then, or in Word, or in a PDF reader, and then just send it back. But yeah, you're right. It's just you get it on your phone, you're like, doop, done. It's nice.
So great, it is.
Let's take a little break. Then we're going to talk about hardware. We got Xbox still to come. Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley. Our show today brought to you by HackerRank. Everybody knows HackerRank's a great place to go to get a gig in the technology world. Did you know, though, they have a tool for helping you hire in the technology world? I actually go to HackerRank because I like solving the HackerRank problems, which is fun. Between deadlines and frustrating interview tools that aren't set up for technical interviews, if you're doing tech hiring and you're trying to conduct a tech interview, it is kind of a time sink. It's kind of annoying. But we can make this easier. You don't have to spend the first 10 minutes of your interview just trying to set up an environment to share code from a dozen documents. That wastes your time and your candidate's time. HackerRank has actually developed an IDE for the tech interview process. I love this idea. You know, you've got IDEs for coding. Now you got an IDE for interviewing. It's got an easy-to-use set of interview tools, which will help you find the best developers for your technical projects. Developer tools include a pre-made question library, over 2,500 questions, so you'll find the ones that are right for your coding needs. A code playback feature. That's great. You can watch them code, but sometimes they're fast. You can review the candidate's coding approach, score their skill levels, even, slow it down a little bit if you want to see what the hell are they doing. And a built-in whiteboard so you can collaborate in real time to see how problems are solved, do stuff together. It's time to reboot your technical interview process with HackerRank. Click Interview Done. Start using HackerRank for free today, and see how much better a technical interview can be. Everybody will be happier. Reboot your technical interviews with HackerRank's easy-to-use tools, that pre-made question library, the code playback, the built-in whiteboard. You'll be conducting better technical interviews and instantly identifying the right talent. Go to hackerrank.com/WW to start a better tech interview for free today. hackerrank.com/dubdub. We thank him so much for supporting Windows Weekly, for making it easier to do technical interviews. We thank you for going to that address so they know you saw it here. hackerrank.com/WW. Thank you, HackerRank. Hardware news. Is there any? What's the latest? Sorry. Intel is investing big in Europe. Is Paul, are you?
He might be muted.
Oh, you're
Is he
muted. I see his lips moving, but there's no one home. Okay.
Sorry, I muted myself during the ad. Sorry.
No problem.
So they've announced an investment of at least $36 billion in Europe, $19 billion of that for a new German fabrication facility, $13 billion for an expansion of existing Ireland facilities, and then whatever amount of money on either new or updated facilities.
Everybody's
in France,
doing this.
Ireland,
They've got to get out of China and start making stuff all over the world, right?
Yeah. So, this is kind of incredible. I mean, they're just spending money.
They're spending money. This is
they're single-handedly prop up the economy.
Trying to save the company. And that's what they need to do. I think it's the right thing to do.
Go to Jim.
Mary Jo, there is a question in the chat room. They want to know if that thing over your left shoulder is a Terminator skull. Is it a plate? What is that? Yeah.
No, it's like a green glass vase.
It's a vase. Okay. It's a Terminator
is it the shape
vase.
of a Terminator skull?
Yeah.
It
It
really
is
does
not a
look like
Terminator skull. Surprisingly, it is not.
Their house will burn down, and the only thing left will be that skull.
So you
'cause it's
say.
impervious.
So you say.
So I say, I know. I don't want people to really focus in on it. But
Her ringtone is that chunk, chunk, chunk sound from Terminator 2.
you guys know me all too well.
They're on to me.
More Lenovo laptops. I was surprised. I thought we'd heard it all at Mobile World Congress. They had so much stuff.
I did too. So I think Intel's staggered 12th gen rollout is what triggered this because normally they probably would have announced this all up front. So they announced new X1s, Z series, which is brand new, X13S, and updated T series at CES. Yes. And then this past week, they announced new versions of the X13, X13 Yoga, and then the ThinkPad L, which is kind of the affordable line. They're all 12th gen Dolby Voice, full HD webcams, by the way, which is amazing. Wi-Fi 6E, et cetera, et cetera. So most of them offer battery options, which I think is kind of cool. You have 2 different battery sizes. So you can opt for better battery life.
Get the big battery. Always do. I do anyway.
And they're ThinkPads. ThinkPads.
Yeah,
awesome.
I love ThinkPads.
So,
yeah,
all that kind of stuff. So that's good. It's good.
And wait a minute. What? There's a new $800 webcam?
I was like, wait till Leo sees the price.
Wait,
on this.
what? Wait, what?
Yeah. That was one of the announcements today in this big hybrid work thing they announced today. Surface Hub 2 smart camera. So it's only for the Surface Hub 2S.
Oh.
The reason they say it costs $800 is it's their first AI camera. So
Does it
that
have an
it
Apple
can
logo
do,
on it? What
yeah,
justifies this?
exactly.
I think they figure if you own a Surface Hub, you can afford $800
You
for
can
a camera.
afford it, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a teraflop of compute power in this thing.
It sounds like a lot. I don't know.
camera.
Like, teraflop.
12 megapixel
Don't worry, it's
sensor.
still it's 720p.
And so what it can do is it automatically compensates when things change in the view of the camera. So say you're in a big room with a bunch of people and people leave, there's like gaps. It'll
zoom in?
reconfigure. It'll reconfigure what you
Oh,
see
that's
so that you
cool.
don't see that.
All right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. But $800 also, and only works with the Surface Hub 2S.
But these conference room spaces are so expensive, and everything
They
have
are.
in there is.
They are.
I think this is just.
No, it's true.
If you charged less, they'd go, "Why is it so cheap?"
That's a good point.
I mean, it's crazy
That's
what
fair.
people spend on these conference rooms.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And if you can afford an 85-inch Surface Hub
Exactly.
2S,
Right.
you can probably afford this camera.
Yeah.
It's just I was surprised this is what the Surface team announced because we knew Stevie Batish was going to be part of today's set of announcements, and I was guessing they were going to announce the Surface display, especially after Apple just announced a display. I'm like, yeah, that's what they're going to do. They said they were going to do this 2 years ago, and they never did. But no, they announced this camera.
A little thing happened in
instead.
between, though, right? Surface
thing
Hub
happened in
2S was
between.
released
Yeah.
right before the pandemic.
Right.
Now they have
And then
these
they never-
$10,000 screens sitting in buildings no one's using.
No, and then they also never completed the vision of that product. Remember, it was supposed to be a modular thing, and you could replace it with the guts that were going to be Surface 2X.
Yeah, compute. What do they call it? A compute module or
engine module
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, that never happened at all because, again, the pandemic happened right after they shipped it to us. Will they still do it? We don't even know. Whenever you ask them, is that still the plan? Are you guys still going to do that with the Surface Hub? They're like, we'll see. Yeah, maybe.
Well, remember, that was something existing customers had driven them to do because they had existing
Right.
Surface Hub 1s and they wanted them all to work together.
Yep.
And then they probably did the work to make that happen, at least some of it. And then the pandemic happened, and then no one was in the office for 18 months to 2 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I'm sure they're is there anybody out there still interested in this? I bet they don't even know for sure.
Yeah. It's weird because I feel like even during the pandemic, they claimed they were still backlogged on orders for the Surface Hub. Like they were so far behind in filling them that they were still filling them through the pandemic. And now I don't know with component shortages and everything else, right? I don't know.
All these CFOs are getting this bill, for $25,000. Like, what is this thing?
Right.
Did we just put a screen in a building no one's using? Like,
Yeah.
you ordered it 2 years ago, remember?
Yeah. But now that people are starting to come back to work, you got to wonder if Microsoft is going to be like, okay, we just put that vision on pause. Now we're going to kind of come out with Surface 2 Hub 2X. We're going to come out with the display, the standalone Surface display. I don't know. Maybe they will, or maybe they've moved on and they're not doing that anymore. I don't know.
We had heard about a Surface Hub camera. It must be 3 years ago. Now it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it was USB-C base, and the Surface Hub had around its top and side edges a number of USB ports, and the idea was you could put multiple cameras on there, I guess.
Yep.
And maybe we could also use them with PCs. There was all this talk about what this was going to be, and I feel like this new thing, they had 2 years to kind of sit back and think about it. It's like, how about we put one camera, and it has a wide-angle lens, and we can do distortion correction, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And maybe they kind of replace the old idea.
Maybe. Yeah, Zach Bowden at Windows Central said the code name, I have forgotten this, but it was Perry. Remember that? Like that was the code name that we heard for the Surface camera. Like you said,
Perry.
3 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
PERI. Yep.
The before times, as we now say.
It was. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure this thing is a beautiful piece of hardware that can do amazing things because, they've had a lot of time to work on it.
Sure.
And I just kind of was like, okay, I thought you guys were going to do something else like a Surface monitor or display or something.
Well, there's still this April 5th event, right?
Yeah.
We'll see. A Windows display might make more sense for that event.
That's true. Maybe.
I've heard nothing about it, but you never know.
Same. Yep.
It's possible.
Okay. Okay.
It's all possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of still trying to figure out what back to work's going to look like. I know
We are.
everybody's saying come back to the office, but a lot of people are saying, oh, for my dead body.
Yeah.
And I bet you we end up doing this hybrid thing that they're talking about. And
Yep. Me too.
Yeah, for sure.
so then something like this becomes even more important because a lot of employees are remote. So you have some in the office, some remote.
We didn't go through any of the details of the announcement today, but among the 1,700 things they announced were many things designed to make those hybrid meetings better. So you've got some people in the room, some people not in the room. What do you see depending on what screen you're looking at? That's all, they've had time to kind of work through this stuff. So it's all a big part of that hybrid work story.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And of course, many people just want to stay home and play Xbox. And for that,
Thank you.
we have Paul Thurrott and your Xbox news.
God, I've waited like an hour and 40 minutes for this.
Come on, you've already given us a preview.
Speaking
Steam
of
Deck
previews,
is not Xbox. Let's be clear.
there is a
Gaming
Halo
shaming.
TV series debuting on Paramount Plus on March 24th, which means I'm going to have to pay for Paramount Plus. And they just released the final trailer. It looks awesome.
I saw one review. I guess some people get it early. I saw one review that said Master Chief was great, but the show itself wasn't. I don't know. I think if you're a Halo
Special
fan,
effects look good.
you got to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Could be
it looks,
great.
Looks good to me. I mean, if you're familiar with Halo, everything looks right. Although oddly, it's not. I don't believe it's even in this trailer, but it was in an earlier image. The woman who did the voice for Cortana in the games and on the Windows Phone and everything is playing Cortana in this, which I think as a fan that's awesome. But she doesn't have like a blue aura about her like in the games, which it's a little unfortunate. But as far as like the ship designs and the costumes and the aliens and all that stuff, dead on perfect. And then you get the Halo music at the end, which is really nice.
You're going to have to subscribe to Paramount Plus, though.
Just beyond our
Yeah, there's always a downside.
Yeah.
But
It looks like the game, but it's live action.
yeah,
Because it does look a lot like you're in the game. I mean,
exactly.
that's interesting. Oh, there's a person. There's a human. Dun. It's a ring world, though, right?
Yeah.
Why does it look like a planet?
right?
There's a whole universe. There's not just the Halo planets.
Oh, I see.
Also, apparently it was filmed in the same place as The Mandalorian.
Oh,
So
on
that looks
a
like-
green screen stage in Culver
yeah.
City. Yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
this might be good.
What's the point in saving humanity?
Oh, that's what's her name, isn't it? From Battlestar Galactica? Is that Trish?
Oh, I don't.
Trish
oh,
Helfer?
God, I wish.
Looked like a. No, it's not.
That would
Oh, it's. I know who it is. It's another person I know.
Okay. All right.
She was okay. Oh, and that's the guy from Westworld. Yeah, I don't know
Yep,
any
that's
actors' names. I need to know more people's names.
Do you?
Yeah, no, not really. I should read People magazine while I'm standing in the
boy.
grocery store.
Well, pretty soon you'll be able to get that right in the Windows 11 taskbar.
Yeah,
So,
thank goodness. Bikini-rich content coming soon.
coming soon.
Oh, look, he really does look like Master Chief, though. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Things blow up. Things jump out of airplanes.
All right, you got to crank up the sound here.
We're all we have now.
He
just
doesn't,
us.
he doesn't have a parachute. Did you notice that? Oh, there you go.
Yep.
There's the Halo sound.
Oh, you can feel the chills.
You know what?
good
It's
stuff.
funny. When I hear that music, I do. That's so funny. You're right.
I always thought this would make a great movie, and of course today things are done in longer format, Netflix style shows. But
Mandalorian.
yep.
It's filmed in the same place as Mandalorian.
Well, it looked just like it, didn't it? Like this.
Yeah, it's all in a
It's
green
Tatooine.
screen.
No, it's
All right. That's exciting. That's
good.
exciting.
I can't wait.
There's some good gaming news. Mary Jo, you can get excited about that.
Can I?
It'll be a nice preview for your move through the entire Master Chief collection, and then you can play Halo Infinite and wrap it up.
Oh, so exciting.
It's going to be at least 2 or 3 months of gaming right there.
Xbox Game Pass for March.
Yeah, so it was the Ides of March yesterday, so we got another dump of games that we'll be getting through Xbox Game Pass across PC, console, and cloud for the rest of the month. I don't see anything in there, honestly, for me personally, but, Shredder's Dungeon, I can't pronounce that. Tainted Grail, Zero Escape, Norco, F1 2021,
Crusader Kings is supposed to be pretty good. I might play that.
Yeah, none of these really register with me. But, but there you go.
Nahorabuk. The Dungeon of Nahorabuk.
I know, I can't.
Nahorabuk.
Okay. I told you I read there's a book called I'm going to call I'm pronouncing it wrong, but it's Sword of Shannara, which is the Lord of the Rings ripoff, 726 pages long. Yeah, Terry Brooks. I read it in the 6th grade. Yeah, I got to do a book report on it over 2 periods because it was such a big book.
Wow, nice.
I did an analysis of all the times it ripped off the Lord of the Rings. I got an A+.
Wow,
whatever.
This is.
Then I met the author a couple of years later, and I discovered that the book is called The Sword of Shannara.
Shannara. Shanari, Shanara, Shanara.
So I'm not going to try to pronounce that game name. It's not. No. It doesn't matter.
Somewhere somebody's doing a book report on it.
That's a problem.
Getting the name wrong.
That's what the world's turned to come to.
Yeah.
So we got that. And if you are an Xbox fan, you may remember the Perfect Dark series, Perfect Dark Zero, et cetera, et cetera. The game studio that creates it is called The Initiative. They are a Microsoft. Actually, they're doing the reboot, I guess. They're a Microsoft game studio doing the reboot of the Perfect Dark series. And we just learned that this so-called quadruple A game studio, right? Not triple A, it's a quadruple
it's one better.
Is just as terrible as every other game studio on earth. So unfortunately, I mean, I'm starting to get the idea that game studios are just toxic. And
yes, it's filled with bros. What did you expect?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, actually, what did I expect? I play Xbox every day. Of course, it's full of bros.
Yeah. You've had those conversations.
I guess they've lost 34 people over the past, if it's been a year or 2 years, over the past year, including senior writers, the project's lead level designer, technical director. So, anyway, I'm sure the Perfect Dark remake, or whatever they're calling it, will come out still someday, but...
Do you think Microsoft buying into this industry might have been a little bit of a mistake?
Well, or you could look at it from the glass half full side of the fence, like I always do, and say,
oh yeah, Mr. Optimist over here.
Well, so for all of the terribleness at Microsoft and all of the terribleness of video games, I mean, one of the little shining high points of the company for me right now is Phil. I almost said it's Phil Spector, Phil Spencer's Xbox group, now Microsoft Gaming. If anyone can turn this around, it's going to be this organization. So we'll see. Look, if they can fix Activision Blizzard, this guy should win a Nobel Award at this point. I don't even know what to say anymore.
That's true.
We'll see. And then just 2 Xbox adjacent stories. I did mention. So I mentioned Google did their game event yesterday. It's maybe if you're into the gaming space, you might want to just take a look at it and see what they're doing.
I didn't even realize they were doing this. This is all about Stadia, I presume. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's only actually Stadia was only part of it, which is interesting because, of course, they're bringing Android games to Windows, right, through the Play Store, which now actually we know how they're doing it. Remember when they announced this, it wasn't really clear. They said it's not streaming, so you're like, well, they have to be doing something. They're referring to that as super high performance emulation.
Okay, fine.
Whatever. So they're also bringing basically Android apps to Windows. Yeah, which is what Microsoft is doing separately. But not with Microsoft and specifically for games.
That's interesting.
But they're doing it in a very Xbox way, which I appreciate, which is that the idea is you're on your phone or a tablet and you're playing this, or Chromebook, I guess, and playing this game. And there are going to be other places where you can play that game, including Windows PCs, and in the future, probably Macs and probably smart displays and all that, smart TVs. And the idea is these aren't separate game sessions. You're playing the game. So you play to a certain point in the game on one device, you pick it up on another device, you keep going and you come back to the first device. Like actually, that's a good system. So I'm eager to try it. The beta is only in early access, and it's like Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore or something.
Oh.
It's not broadly available yet, but that will happen.
I still have a Stadia membership. I don't think I've played it more than half an hour.
So by the way, I tried to look up exact numbers for this. I couldn't find them. But if you look at Xbox Cloud Gaming, which is the xCloud game streaming service, there are some low hundreds number of games. I'm going to guess it's between 100 and 200 games, somewhere in there. I haven't found an exact number. I think they pretty much advertise 100, but it is well over 100. Google said yesterday that there were over 200 games on Stadia. And honestly, of the game streaming services, it has the best experience, assuming you use a Stadia controller.
Right.
With the least lag and latency and all that kind of stuff. And they are making steps to make it a better service and make it easier for developers to get there, make it more lucrative for them to be there, et cetera, et cetera. But clearly they have an exit strategy. And this was hinted at last year, and they kind of made it explicit yesterday, which is that they're making Stadia available to third parties to host their own services. And AT&T was the first to do this. I think they put up, I think it was Batman, one of the Arkham games.
Oh, that's kind of, you could just be a single game.
Yeah, you could
like
even
it could be the Halo,
just use the
Stadia
backend to deliver it to your customers.
Oh,
so,
that's kind of that's
you
interesting.
upgrade your phone on AT&T and you get this game for free. That kind of thing. So
that makes sense.
It's a viable future. So
yeah,
they have a good infrastructure. It seems to be working out pretty well. So I still like Stadia. I think Stadia is a good service, but what are you going to do?
And now this is Paul's dessert. He's been saving this the entire show.
Yeah. So one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced is Call of Duty on mobile is actually a great version of Call of Duty. There's one thing I would change. It's a lot of the classic levels, which is one of the reasons I like it. The playability is very good. I have to use a controller. I can't play with the on-screen controls, but a lot of people do. I mean, it works, obviously. The only thing I don't like about it is when you're, running toward an enemy, it auto fires if you're on them. So you can flick the trigger all you want, but it's only gonna fire the weapon when it's pointing at an enemy. It's kind of, I'm sure they dumbed it down because it's mobile.
That's for me, not for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like that, but
no.
But
you would like to run up
Warzone.
right up to him and shoot him in the face. I know you.
Well, I'd like to be a little more
subtle.
In me.
Yeah, a little more subtle. Yeah.
But they're bringing Call of Duty Warzone to mobile now. So Warzone is that free-to-play battle royale game mode that you get when you buy any of the modern, from Modern Warfare on games. It's part of it. You can just get it for free too. But they're actually bringing that to mobile, and that makes total sense to me. In fact, I'm rather surprised that wasn't the first thing they did.
Yeah.
But they, I think this is going to make a lot of sense on mobile because games like Fortnite and
they're huge.
PUBG are huge, huge on
Apex Legends. Yeah,
so that's smart.
Overwatch.
Hopefully, they won't let them play with like people on consoles and stuff. But in their own little kind of mobile ghetto, it's fine. Just keep them over.
Keep them over there. Keep them over there, all you Android wielders.
Yeah. We don't
all
have
right.
any cross population there.
No, heaven forfend.
Or you got
mobile
PC users with their mice, and they'll just annihilate everybody.
You are listening to Windows Weekly, Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. And guess what? The back of the book has arrived. We go to the back of the book and tip of the week from Paul Thurrott.
Yeah, so last week, I think we mentioned the latest build we got from out of the dev channel with Windows 11. I heard today from someone that we are not getting a new build today, by the way, so that usually does happen.
Yep.
So, okay, get a week off. But apparently the build, no, not apparently, literally, the build that came out last week to the dev channel actually has tabs in File Explorer hidden inside the application. And Raphael, of course, figured out how to get that working.
Cool.
And so I wrote up a little how-to on that. I'm just using the instructions that he provided to me, but basically use something called Vive Tool. And you just run a specific command line reboot, and then you have tabs in File Explorer. And if that's the kind of thing you want, I mean, honestly, it seems like a semi-obvious feature to me. I will literally probably never use it ever myself. I find it easier to have two windows and copy between them, that kind of stuff. But
there's purposes for tabs.
Everybody works differently.
It's a nice thing.
I'm guessing this means it's well, nothing's 100%, but I assume what this means is it is coming. You would call, I don't know what year it was, but maybe during the creator update era that they were talking about adding a feature called sets to Windows 10, and sets would have added tabs to, I think, any window, right? You could have done it from File Explorer, Word, Excel, any application that doesn't support tabs already. So this is just bringing it to that one specific app. But honestly, I think that makes sense, and that's a good way to do it.
What is this Vive tool of which you speak?
I do not know. It's up on GitHub. It's probably malware injecting.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. No, it's open source. They post the source, although in a zip file, which is a little strange.
Yeah, it's always good. Yeah, no, and you have right.
It addresses the inability to configure features on x86 and by proxy ARM64 as well. So,
I mean, it must be safe. They provide you with a source code.
Yeah, in a weird way. Yeah. From the book is closed, Vive.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
But your computer is now open.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The book is closed, though. Whoever that person is very reliable and a good tipster.
Oh, you know them?
in the Microsoft world.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
I don't know
good.
who it is, but he is very useful
known.
and friendly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
He's a friendly.
He's friendly. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's written in C#, so that's a good sign.
Thank you. We couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
You have to try really hard to screw up a computer with C#.
Oh, man, you got to work at it. Okay. And now a surprising app pick of the week. And I wish you told me that you used Notion.
Well,
to
I
do the
didn't tell you
show.
on purpose because beknownst to Mary Jo and I, but unbeknownst to you, this week we tried Notion for the show notes.
Yeah. How'd you like it?
And I wanted to ask Mary Jo. We didn't really talk about it too much, but what do you think? Do you think this will work
I
for
think
us?
it solved our problem. Our problem with OneNote was, even though they claim you can have two co-authors working simultaneously, you can't really.
Right.
And we would always have conflicts and overwrite each other. We both were in Notion at the same time, typing at the same time, and nothing went amiss.
I didn't get a single dialogue warning. Nothing.
Yeah, Micah and I used it for when I was doing iOS Today for a while and really liked it. Yeah.
I
like
think
it.
it's
It's a
very
little
easy
more.
to use.
Well, that's my complaint. Maybe is it's a little less easy because you fuss with it more. But maybe you guys didn't put icons and graphics.
We didn't.
Well, so it has its own way of doing things. So look, what we want is text and links.
Yep.
Right.
You know?
That's easy to do. Yeah.
Yep.
It's I was, because I like boring the hell out of my wife. I was describing this to her this morning as we were walking the dog, and I was saying, there's a whole world of legacy productivity apps we all grew up with, Word and Excel and PowerPoint and all that stuff. And they're very specific, they're super powerful, they have millions of commands. And then there's this newer generation of tools. And I think Teams came up out of this notion of chat-based collaboration.
Collaboration.
A lot of markdown text editors you see, especially on the Mac, but also elsewhere, the web and in Windows. And then these note-taking apps. And this one specifically is designed for collaboration purposes, but you can use it yourself. You could write in it. It outputs really clean, like kind of HTML-style text if you want to paste it into like a website or whatever, which I think is where a lot of things are going these days. It's not big on the what will it look like when you print it out kind of thing, which was the concern for Word, back in the day, which is not really a concern for most normal people today. So it's different. But if you're used to a lot of the keyboard shortcuts you might use in any application still work, bold, italics, and hyperlinks and all that stuff. The way you make things like headings are different, but they have these little inline hints. You type a slash, and it gives you a drop down of all the things you can do. It's honestly,
I love Notion.
It's fairly intuitive. Yeah,
Notion.so.
I couldn't figure out how to drag. It kept saying you could drag an item. I couldn't get that to work. Like I kept trying to drag one of the items.
Same thing. So when I first started testing, before I shared this with you, I did move things around. And I ordered, because you want the shows ordered in a certain way, whatever it is. And I'm like, great. And I shared it with you. And then I was screwing around with it, and I'm like, I can't move anything around. But since then, I've created other pages, I guess, that are not shared with anybody. They're just for me. And I can move those around. So there's something about sharing it that prevents like the ordering of items. It's
You might have locked it. You can lock it. There's a handle. Every item has a handle.
It does.
So it's really easy when you're. I'm in my
Yeah.
So you see, it turns into a hand, and it's very easy to just drag this stuff.
I know.
around.
I could grab it, and then when I dropped it, it didn't.
Oh, it didn't
drop.
stick.
Yeah, it doesn't work. The shared one doesn't work.
Yeah.
When I do this in
Maybe it is because it's shared. Maybe
the
they turn
non-shared
that
one, it
off.
works fine. It just works. Yeah.
This is
So
another
something
thing that's
about it-
nice to do. You can do stuff in columns as well. You see that by dragging it
by the way, look,
on that side.
this thing probably does 1,000 different things. OneNote probably does 10,000.
Very
things.
powerful.
It
Yeah.
does.
We want one thing.
Yeah.
We just want text, links. Like I said, headings are fine. And we want to be able to work on it at the same time, not because we sit there and work on it at the same time, like while we're talking to each other, but we might not know that the other person is editing it, and who cares?
Exactly.
Like, why can't we both?
Yep.
That's the point of this, isn't it? We're supposed to be able to write at the same time.
Yep.
And it seems like this is working better.
So we originally said, you know what we should do? We should just use the Loop app from Microsoft because they're
Right.
basically doing what Notion did, and it's going to be exactly like
Right.
that. But we figured out after looking around for a bit, I'm
I know, we
like,
looked for
Loop
it.
isn't
It's like-
out yet.
It's not actually.
Well, and I
doesn't
wonder how
exist
closely
yet.
they'll hew to it. I mean, I wonder if it will be, how much it will be like.
It
looks
looks
superficially
really similar.
Superficially, it looks exactly the same, but they
Yeah, it
can't
does.
copy it, or
Yeah.
could they?
They can. Why not?
Microsoft copy something? I don't know. Where that
Really? No.
yeah, who knows?
It'll be a little different, right? Whatever.
Yeah,
But-
I'll have to, Leo. I will add you for next week, and then I think it should be fine.
That will make me happy. And I promise
Yep.
not to do weird things with it, like turn it into tables.
Okay, as long as tables, I think maybe should be disabled. That's fine.
I use it for.
Yeah, we just wanted to test it and make sure. This is the only time
Yeah.
we've ever done it. So
You can turn
I
it
just
into a
wanted-
web page, which is cool. You can lock it. Make sure you don't lock it because that might
That
be
might be
another
what
thing
happened.
that's going on. Maybe sharing does disable. I've never, I don't.
I've never. It's all I can say is like right now I can see it again. Like the non-shared pages, I can move those around.
Yeah,
no
but
problem at all.
not the
shared
other
ones. I can't.
So it must be.
Weird.
Yeah,
I think
must
that must be it.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I use it
it's
for
not
all
a big
sorts of stuff, and I do the graphics.
OneNote, you can do all that stuff too. We just were very frustrated with the co-authoring.
Yeah,
it really
yeah.
was getting to be a huge.
Well, that's good to know
problem
that
for
you
us.
can. The co-authoring is easy. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they also went in a direct. So the guys that do OneNote sort of understood this app had become kind of ponderous, and by the time Windows 10 came around, they did that OneNote for Windows 10, which has the simplified ribbon, and it's a little dumbed down. Is not the right word. It's simplified. I really preferred that app, but now they're going back to the other app, and of course now they're doing Loop, and so I think Loop is probably closer to the type of thing we're looking for.
It is.
just
Once
based on
Loop
our
comes out, we
experience
can
with it.
try that.
Yeah, we'll try Loop.
Yeah, because your needs are few and simple. You're not
Very few.
Yeah, you're not.
Very few.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I wanted
we
to
need
use
it to work.
Notepad. I'm just saying.
Right.
I try.
Well,
I
yeah,
advocated for
so
it.
one of the things back in January, I was saying, well, maybe I'll just share a folder in OneDrive, and we can have like a Word document or something, But I like this kind of thing. So
Yep.
I don't know, it seems good.
Seems fine.
I use it for a lot of stuff. In fact, I'll make a web page when I want to share content. You can make the web page be locked down, and it's just a real web page that people can surf to, and it's really cool. There's a lot you can do.
Nice.
I've used it I've been writing part of the book in it just to kind of get a feel for the whole, like actually using it heavily. It seems like it's good.
Nice.
You have a additional app of the week.
Yeah, so this is in beta, but Stardock has released a beta version of the next version of Start11. So this is that $5.99 tool that fixes the start menu in Windows 11, but also is starting to fix a lot of other things in Windows. Among those things, the taskbar. So I think everybody understands by now that one of the things they did in Windows 11 was they didn't take the Windows 10 taskbar rather and simplify it. They started over from scratch. So you can't do anything with it. It's ridiculous. You can't put it on different sides of the screen. You can't resize it. They don't do grouping. You can't right click it and get any options or whatever. So Start11 actually fixes a lot of those problems. And this 1.2 version, which is out in beta, now brings back a taskbar feature from the past called grouping and ungrouping. And so the idea here is that you have multiple windows, say like a browser windows or Word windows or whatever. And back in the day, it's like probably Windows 7, Windows 8, you could choose whether those things would be grouped, so they're kind of stacked on top of each other visually, or they're ungrouped, meaning each one of them has its own icon. And that's that's not a feature from Windows 11 because, this thing doesn't work. But they are adding that feature as well. So good. A lot of like, if Windows 11 is frustrating to you, you got to get Start11. It's just no brainer. It's $6.
How's Brad doing
Definitely
over there? Is he happy?
He's doing good. Yeah, this is what he's working on.
Is he a coder or does he do
No, he's like
marketing
I would say he's a product manager, probably that kind of role. So he does a lot of the communications now for that.
But also perfect to have somebody like him say, this is how this should work, or this is what the features should be. Somebody who really knows Windows. That's really
And
good.
they have developers there who obviously know the innards of Windows,
right?
And they're looking at what Microsoft did in Windows 11, and they're like, "Are you kidding me? Like this is this really what they did?"
Really?
No, I mean, like I've heard this multiple times.
Oh,
like,
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, they literally ripped out the taskbar and just started over with this new thing, and they're like,
at least
ship something.
Hey, at least Microsoft makes it doable. At least that you can do that,
Yeah, they don't want you to do this, but yeah, this is a vestige of the past, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mary Jo Foley has an enterprise pick of the week that could surprise you.
Yes, surprise. Okay, you know how we thought there would just be one version of what do you call it? A feature update of Windows 11 every year, because Microsoft said that was what the plan was. Then we found out later, kind of, like they were going to trickle out other updates in between, and there'd be like the thing we just got in February, like a bunch of features packaged together, but it's not a feature update, just a bunch of features in an update, but not a feature update. Well, it sounds like they're doing the same thing in server, which is kind of crazy. So last year they said, we're only from now on going to have one version of Windows Server every 2 to 3 years. I'm like, oh, that's what IT people want. They want fewer releases, very predictable, very well tested, have a lot of features all rolled up. Then this week, there was a blog post kind of hidden away on the tech community site under storage, which was a weird place to put this. And it says, I got to get the exact wording because it's funny, unless they changed it because I pointed it out. Let's see, which they might have. It sounded like, we will soon be starting the Azure Edition Insider Program. So there is a product already called Windows Server Azure Edition, where you can get preview of new features coming to our first major release this autumn. I'm like, oh, wait. So there isn't just going to be one server release every 2 to 3 years. There's going to be one this autumn. And there just was one last year. So they're doing the exact same thing, it seems, in server as they were doing in client. There's going to be other updates in between that they probably won't call new additions. But if you care about server and you happen to be using the Azure Edition, you want to get in on this new insider program, which is going to be announced soon. They're going to be bringing changes to storage replica, SMB, and some surprises, it says. And then they'll also be...
Stickers.
I know.
That's what you want when you're running a server is surprise.
Ads, maybe ads, guys. It might be ads.
Could be
I don't
ads.
know. I don't know.
Stickers. I like stickers.
Yeah, but I just think it's interesting because, wait, we just heard you guys are cutting back because people want fewer releases. But no, wait, there's going to be another release this year.
They can't help
just
themselves.
Kidding.
They just can't help themselves. It's like, no, we have to. We got
We
it.
don't
We can't.
have a build button if we're not going to push it. Well, of course we're going to make new builds.
I just was like, what? Wait a minute. You got everybody all excited. One every 3 years, and now here we go again. Okay. Anyway.
Enterprise pick number 2.
Right. I know we have a lot of Microsoft reseller partners who listen to Windows Weekly. So if you're one of those people, you are going to want to know about something Microsoft just announced during the show. This happened at 3 p.m. Eastern today. They are making some pretty big changes to their partner program in October this year. One of the things is they're changing the name of it. So right now, the Microsoft reseller program is called the Microsoft Partner Network, MPN. But as of October, it is going to be called the Microsoft Cloud Partner Program. You know how everything at Microsoft's about the cloud? They want to make sure it's very clear that everything they want those resellers to be selling is cloud. They're going to be making some changes around how partners are certified, what kinds of certifications that are available, and they're going to be things around Azure and Dynamics, all the things you think of when you think of the Microsoft Cloud. So if you go up to the Microsoft Partner Network site and you're a partner, you can see right now some of these changes. They're starting to outline them, put up FAQs so that you can get ready for all these changes you're going to have to make. By October, you're going to have to get recertified because there's going to be different certifications. And it's going to be kind of a lot of changes for you. They're saying this is their biggest change in the partner network in something like 15 years. So if you thought these changes might include something we talked about on Windows Weekly before called the new commerce experience that a lot of people who are in the partner network are very angry about because they hate the changes. Those are not changing. Those things are not changing. They're not, unfortunately, that's not part of the big change. They're still pushing forward with this new commerce experience thing. And there are a lot of things that partners really, really hate and are really screaming about. But so far, Microsoft is turning a deaf ear to the NCE stuff. I hear from my sources they may change that and may give in on some of that. But for now, all you're getting for changes is the name of the program, how you get certified, and when you need to get certified. Go, partners, go.
You know, if we zoom in on that Terminator head over your shoulder,
You see that?
we can see everything. We can see an ad. Yeah, we can see the room.
You can see the ads.
Yeah, it's really
Wow.
interesting. Yeah.
The reflections. You can see all the people I'm talking to during the show and my sources.
Coming and going.
Excellent. Excellent. You can see Sriracha over there.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. So, don't. That's not nice.
Hitting a USB cable.
Are you going to do corned beef and cabbage tomorrow, Mary Jo?
No, you know I'm a vegetarian, pescatarian.
Oh, that's right.
So, no.
Corn,
Might do something with
salmon.
cabbage.
And
Corn of the
cabbage,
cod.
perhaps.
Corn
Yeah,
cod.
maybe salmon or something like
Yeah.
that for sure. Yep.
I told
Yeah.
Lisa we should do that because her folks love corned beef and cabbage. She said, it's St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. We should. She said, over my dead body, she hates it. She does not like it.
I used to love.
Well, yeah, if you
when
grew
I
up
ate
on
meat,
that
I
stuff,
loved
it's like a
corned beef.
punishment.
Yeah, I think that's
I
it.
loved it.
And I think
No,
if
it really
you've
is.
had poorly made corned beef where it's
Yep.
just like boiled,
Right. No, then you hate
eesh,
it.
it's terrible. Yeah, I don't blame
it's
you.
awful.
But if you had the right beer to go with it, hint,
Exactly.
hint, you might have a different point of view.
Right. So the traditional beer for St. Patrick's Day obviously is a Guinness, and preferably a well-poured Guinness, properly poured Guinness. But you know what's funny? A lot of breweries now are making their own beer in this style, which is called the dry Irish stout style. And one of my local breweries here, in fact, is making one, other half. They're making a beer called Bang On.
Because it's bang
4%.
on. It's perfect.
Bang on. It's bang on. 4%, tastes a lot like Guinness, dry Irish stout style, low bitterness, very low alcohol, like around, 4%-ish. Roasty, tasty. It's funny, when I used to drink Guinness and other dark beers in bars, people would come up to me like, oh, you like the hard stuff. I'm like, no, this is the lightest beer here. It's 4%.
Isn't that funny? It looks like the hardest beer there, but it isn't.
Yeah. And I've had this and it's very good. If you like that style, and it's just easy drinking, you can have more than one and be able to still roll out of there and go to the parade tomorrow. So you're good.
Bang on. From the New York's other half. You've done a lot of good other half.
Actually, that looks a
Yeah,
lot
they have
like
good
the little Terminator head you get behind you on the shelf.
Oh, maybe that's what it is behind her there.
That's what it is.
It's
a
a
beer.
bang on beer. That is it for Windows Weekly for this fabulous Wednesday, the day before St. Patrick's Day, or as we like to call it, St. Patrick's Day Eve.
That's right.
You got to start early. Yeah.
Yep.
Pre-gaming.
Eyes of St. Patrick's Eve.
Ides of St. Patrick's. In between and there's Sriracha making a perfectly timed
I heard
appearance.
my name. Did you want me to be petted?
Yes, petting.
Yeah.
Yes, petting's involved. Yes. We do Windows Weekly every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1800 UTC. And I'm sorry, somebody did show up an hour late, and I apologize because we've gone to summertime in the U.S. early. They'll be going to summertime later this month in the rest of the world because we just really like to mess things up. Not enough that we change the clock twice a year, but we got to do it at a different cadence than everybody else. Anyway, we are now 1800 UTC. If that helps, you can do the calculation from there. I only say that if you want to watch live. You don't have to watch live, obviously. We've got on-demand versions of the show at our website, twit.tv/WW. There's a YouTube channel. Every show makes its way up there, so you can watch the video there. You could subscribe in your favorite podcast player, get it automatically. Just go to, say, Pocket Cast or Overcast or Apple's Podcast, Google Podcasts, all of that, and subscribe. In fact, if they let you leave a review, please leave us a 5-star, if you would. Let the world know about Windows Weekly. A little nice prose saying how wonderful Paul and Mary Jo are and things like that.
Think of it like an Airbnb review.
Yeah.
Good communication.
Yeah.
Good location.
Yeah, they never popped in to bother me.
The toaster worked.
That kind of thing, yeah. Let's see. If you're not a member of Club Twit, I invite you to join. You won't hear ads like this ad I'm about to do for Club Twit. Plus, you'll get access to the fabulous Discord, and there may be a good reason to do that this week because Paul Thurrott will be our guest of the week on Friday. You excited, Paul?
What's happening?
Aren't you doing something? Oh, no, that's the 31st. Never mind. I thought it was this week.
Jeez,
I scared him.
On Friday,
no, tomorrow it's Patrick Delahanty, actually.
Oh, good.
Twit engineer. This is a Club Twit members only event. Paul will be March 31st, 9 a.m.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Paul. I didn't mean to scare you. And Stacy's book club's coming up next week. Unauthorized Bread will be the book of the week. So we got lots of stuff, lots of events going on. It's fun. The club is a lot of fun, and if you want to join, $7 a month gets you all the rights and privileges of a Club Twit member. Just go to twit.tv/clubtwit to sign up. Sorry, Paul, didn't mean to scare you.
No, it's okay. I am a little out to lunch, as it is.
No, I'm more out to lunch than you are. I think we've proven that now.
That's okay.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next time, you dozers, on Windows Weekly. Bye-bye.
Don't miss All About Android every week. We talk about the latest news, hardware, apps, and now all the developer-y goodness happening in the Android ecosystem. I'm Jason Howell, also joined by Ron Richards, Florence Ion, and our newest co-host on the panel, Wen Tu Dao, who brings her developer chops. Really great stuff. We also invite people from all over the Android ecosystem to talk about this mobile platform we love so much. Join us every Tuesday, All About Android on twit.tv.